Day 2, 2020. Never thought I'd get to this day, but this is an exciting time. That's why I'm recording this. Because I want to keep history of what I actually started with and see what unfolds at the end. Nonetheless, hello everybody. Let me put some light on. I forgot to turn my light on. There we go. Much better. Good morning, everybody. My name is Charles Walk. If you don't know me, CEO of Art and Raw. This is day 2 of 2020 with BlazingSql. It's actually day 4, but I started a little earlier. I just couldn't really wait. I just not to wait and type. And anyway, just want to record some of the struggles and strategies and triumphs that I go through as I get to putting more and more features into BlazingSql. The vision I had in the beginning was to create a web-based interface that pretty much allowed a lot of the features and functionalities of SQL Server so that people can manage their database remotely. Didn't know how that was going to happen in the beginning. That's the funny part when I look back at it in retrospect. When we all start our new businesses, we don't really quite know the complete map. We just have our local navigation to get us to the next destination, but we still don't have the complete map. And so as you go through life, you figure out that the map is always changing, the terrain is always changing. And that's what really excites me about business. But at the same time, there's that area of fear too, I guess you can say. I'm not really fearful. I don't really fear many things, but it's just that uncertainty, that unknowing, and the expectations of what that you have in your mind, that you have set forward, are great and everything, but it's just to see them unfold and then to see them not unfold. And I've had a lot of hopes and aspirations ever since I started Art and Raw a year ago, and those aspirations and hopes and dreams haven't come to fruition yet, And I always say yet because who knows what the future will hold. So I just plunge forward and keep on striving for a higher purpose than myself, and that is to change the world. I'm here to try to, allow my skills to be utilized by the community and hopefully bless a lot of companies and bless a lot of people, and I had to really come to that realization because I kind of had I don't really know how to say it, I guess, but I've had a reserved life with my talents. I've always been in obscurity and kind of like hidden, kind of like the black sheep of everything. I've had the skills for a long time, but nobody's known I've had them. And I'm just not an open person like that. Never really have been. But I'm learning to come out of my shell a little bit more, and at least expose my talents to the world. So that, that's the whole purpose of why it was, and this is a learning thing for me too, because when I started Art and Raw, I started it with the emphasis on exposing, artist talent. I really wanted to expose people's talent, so that was kind of why I just went with exposing talent. And the key thing is that I never really try to expose my talent. I'm not really a boisterous individual or try to be braggadocious or anything. I'm good at what I'm good at, and I just do it. I don't try to brag about it. I'm a show. I'm a action. You can tell me everything, but if you can show me, I can most definitely believe you now. But it's been hard for me, so I kind of, I have to believe that, this is the right direction I need to go in order to open myself up and be a little bit more transparent, and hopefully, help some people along the way, and that's what the whole purpose of this video is. So hopefully this will be history towards the positive. Who knows what the future holds. I don't ever put any stake on things, but I know one thing: I'm going to stake my purpose and my intent, and I'm going to go forward and try to accomplish that purpose and intent regardless of the situation. That's one thing I had to come to the realization of, because I used to have that fire a long time ago, before I started having these medical complications. It's just like, I want to do this, and it's going to take me to go through this to get to that. All right, it's worth it. Let's do this. And no matter what I had to go through, I made it happen. But it was different with the business. It was kind of like, that's kind of risky. I don't know if I want to do it that way. So for the longest time, I didn't even really want to push forward with the business, because I was just like, well, I'm putting myself out there, and if I say I'm going to do something, I'm a man of my word, so that means I'm going to do it, but I don't know what to expect with business. And then I had to come to the realization, it's just like everyday life with everything else. You just got to do it, regardless of what the business side of the life brings you, And I was just caught up in that frame of mind, thinking I had to be limited by what I can actually bring to market, and I can bring a whole lot to market, and I can stand behind what I can bring. So thus I trudge forward. Always forward, never back. That's my motto for 2020. And my goal is to accomplish everything that I set out to accomplish. And so with that, I want to get into a little bit of BlazingSql before I get prepared to go to dialysis, which I won't be able to make any recording of this on dialysis, of my process in dialysis. So I'm going to do a little bit here before I go, and then just trying to get some things set up. I went through a couple of things on a spreadsheet yesterday to get things set up for what I want to try to do is plan for what I'm going to do yesterday. So in that way, I can always be having a task to take care of the next day and just keep going, and my goal is, got a little bit of heartburn this morning. So my goal for 2020 is to get something done every day. And as I get towards that goal, I will have a complete product, in no time. I just know the work ethics that I have when I stay on task. So I can accomplish a lot of things, man. In fact, I think back to an application I wrote for a company back in, anyway, it was a long time ago, but I wrote that application in 30 days. Yeah, I was writing it day and night. But anyway, I got it done. And didn't go anywhere. It kind of failed me, but the thing that I learned out of that is that I could accomplish something like that in a small amount of time. So thus I'm still trying to do that with BlazingSql. So some of the things that I want to try to accomplish today is I have 2 tables that I'm having to put in, and those 2 tables are going to allow me to keep user settings, which are going to be limited right now, but as the application grows, I'll have this table used for saving multiple user settings. And so one of the user settings that I will be saving is the application state. So one of the things with the application is that when you are in a web app, you want to be able to reflect your changes to the database. Thus, when you go to another page and come back, that data is representative of what you left it at, if that makes sense. So basically, I just want to make sure that I'm keeping the individual's data at all times. So I set up a strategy to save the state to the database every time they update their components. So it's turning out to be pretty successful. I'm going to take it through some serious testing phases, because I don't know if I want it to save to the database every time the state is changed, because that could be a very, very chatty application, if that makes sense. That means that it's going to be too much talking to the database, and that over time may wear down. You got thousands of people coming to the application and using it. That's a lot of chattiness going on, and the application can sustain serious performance degradation. So I want to make sure that I at least anticipate for that. So performance is key to me. I make sure that performance is something I focus on, because in the end of the day, if you don't keep performance at the front of your mind as you're developing, you're going to come to the end where you're going to be trying to figure out how to improve the performance. When I try to do it as I go through. As I go, I try to make sure the performance meets my specifications before I continue. If it doesn't, I try to figure out why it doesn't and then try to fix it. Sometimes that slows me down and has me end up being sidetracked from my original schedule, but I, as the CEO of my own company, can make that decision. And that's one thing I do love about this. So I'll show you some BlazingSql today. One of the things that I'm having to put in today is I have my little spreadsheet here. What I'm going to be accomplishing here in the next couple of days. I have to put in my application DB context application user extension class today, and that's going to allow me to add the script and the user settings to the tables. So I have a schema change that I have to make today, and that schema change is happening to my identity class, which is basically all my membership tables in the database. So I want to integrate my existing my tables with the existing identity is what I'm doing. So what that will allow me to do is anytime that I need to access that user to determine whether they are authenticated, I'll have their actual connection, and I can update their settings from there and query their settings from that location without having to do a second call to the database. Everything would be presented in one call. So it makes it easier for me to manage the interface and the back end, and everything's just easier. So that's one of the things that I'm going to accomplish today. I have to get that class in, and then I have to run the migrations. I was trying to get some of it done yesterday, but ran into some issues. And then I need to pull the identity additional pages over to make appropriate changes to match the rest of my website. And that is because I just want the look and feel to match all the way through. These are pre-designed web pages by Microsoft that I'm going to modify to fit my needs and put in any additional field data that I need in order to capture the end user's information. And so these are the things that I'm accomplishing the next couple of days, and I'm trying to keep, a little spreadsheet is all I'm using. I'm not using anything elaborate. I did want to set up a bug tracking tool and all that stuff, but it's just time. It's just things that I have to do, and I am looking at priority, things that are most important, anything I need to capture as far as data, and make sure that I at least have some type of notation. I put it in a spreadsheet, makes it quick, fast, in a hurry. And as I go through, I'll just mark off things with color. Color is a pretty effective option for this, at least. So I just go in here and say, oh, well, that one is either it's red, needs some issues, or it's green, it's good to go. And then I can move on. So that makes it real easy. So that's my spreadsheet. So these are the things that I'm going to accomplish today. So what I want to try to get set up before I leave out of here to go to dialysis and get ready, I want to go in here and actually set up the identity context to get it prepared to integrate with my application user. So one of the things that I have to go through and do is I already started the code. As you see, it's commented out. And this is the old code, and I just did this so that I can switch back and forth if I need to at least get the application up to go to another feature that I was trying to fix. So that's it. Now what this is doing is this is the identity DB context. This is the actual connection to the membership to the database that Microsoft is implementing. And what I am doing is I'm modifying the default behavior so that I can implement my own implementation of the application user so that I can add some additional properties, which I need an additional property for SQL scripts, and I need an additional property for user settings. And so with those additional properties, that's going to allow me to actually store those in the actual identity user account and access them whenever I need to. This just makes it really easy. So what I have also done is created an application user class that actually inherits from the identity user. And that's going to hold my collections of scripts and my collection of user settings. Now, these are just basically a collection, basically indicating that these are a collection of tables that are in the database, or shall I say, not a collection of tables, a collection of rows of this table from the database. So what that allows me to do is query this database and get a collection of SQL scripts that would be a row of each one that exists in this table. So it's just an interesting way that the Unity framework works and allows us to do object-oriented programming. And I love it. I just love it. As long as they keep it fast and it doesn't slow down from here, which I am very amazed at how fast .NET Core is. And this is written completely on .NET Core. If you guys haven't caught my previous video, this is written on .NET Core 3.0. I'm sorry. It's using Blazor, and it's using SQL Server 2017. And I'm using Visual Studio 2019 Preview Edition. And I try to tell everybody that this is that the Community Edition is completely free. You can go to Microsoft's website and download this. It's I'm on version 16.5.0 Preview 1. And you can go and download this, and it's completely free. You'll have to go get some type of training if you're not familiar with how to use this as a tool. But this is a tool that is what we call an IDE. It's an integrated development environment that allows us to develop applications. I can create desktops, I can create mobile apps, I can create web apps, desktop apps. Man, you can create anything almost. But this is a tool that is very, very useful. A lot of people don't know about it. I see, and I just try to tell people when I can. But it's just another tool that Microsoft offers as a way to get people involved into software development, software creation, And so if you're interested, feel free to go to Microsoft.com. So this is what I'm using. I have a structure pretty much set up of 3 projects. I have 4 projects. I have BlazingSql, which is my Blazor implementation of SQL. And then I have a Blazor's SMO tester, which is what I use to test all my SMO features. And then I have a SMO domain project that holds all my domain entities pretty much. And then I have a main. And that main is just basically what holds all my business logic and handles all the interesting information, interesting code related to pulling stuff out of SQL Server. I'll just put it that way. So I use all of these in combination. They all get referenced by this project. And one of the things that I'm going to try to do today is get this set up ready to integrate the additional tables in. And so one of the things I want to try to do is there's going to be some changes that I have to make to the actual services. And in the default services, it uses an application DB context. And I'm going to use the same application DB context. I'm not changing that whatsoever, but I'm going to be changing the identity user to an application user. And so I have to go throughout the application, everywhere that this is utilized and referenced, I have to change it to application user so it can use my new implementation. And once I'm done with that, I can successfully say I'm integrated. And then I can go and test my tables and make sure that they're actually, usually when I do test, I'll set up a test page And my test page I'll use to actually make calls to that individual table, add information to it using the entity, and then that way I can test whether everything functions the way I need it to, and then I can go on to the next stage. So once I'm done with that, then I'll be able to one of the things I did yesterday, and I didn't put this in the previous videos, I implemented my cookie authentication functionality. One of the things that I wanted to do is make sure that everybody gets a cookie, and that that cookie is stored for a certain amount of time. So I put that implementation in so that when people come to the website, they don't have to worry about logging in every time. So let's look at the web app for those that haven't seen it. I got it in debug mode. One of the things I like about using Visual Studio is that you can run a debugger and it'll just spin everything up for you that's required to run the application, and then you can just test the functionality of your app. And as you'll see, this spins up a web app, and the initial web page is going to be the loading page for everything. It's just the default page for the application. And it took me a while because I didn't really want to come with a loading page and then come with I just wanted to make this simple, because it's going to be something that's going to be used on a mobile device. So with a mobile device, it's all about simplicity. So I was trying to think of it from that standpoint. I always think of it in a mobile first kind of a relation. So it made it easy for me to do it. So, one of the things with the authentication is because now that I have authentication tied in here, you can't log in. So nothing can be done on this page at all. This is what everybody's going to see when they come here, but nobody can do anything until they actually log in and create an account. So the way you do that is you have to go into the login portion of the application and actually create a user account, which I'm already registered. Either you're registered or you log in. And then once you have logged in, you'll be redirected. Okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. I have to go in and change all the identity user stuff back over. So sorry about that. I totally forgot about that just that fast. So that's why I have to go through here and fix up some things. But I can change that back real quick. Oops. And rerun it. All right, so as you'll see, I'll go here to try to connect, and I can't connect. And this is the connection that I'll bring up the dialog for individual to be able to log in, which I'll show you how we get that to work. You got to log in and create an account. And since I already have an account, I just need to log in. And once I log in, I'm redirected back to that page. And I can click a login, and here is the login page. Login page is going to be specifically designated towards only SQL Server authentication right now. There will be a future integration with Active Directory, shall we say. But right now it's just SQL Server authentication. But this is the login screen that pretty much will allow you to log into SQL Server. And the things that we will require are the SQL Server that you're trying to connect to, the database instance that you're trying to connect to, and of course SQL Server authentication has to be filled in, and your username and password. Once you have filled those in, you can connect. And of course, this is where your instances will be listed, and each instance will have a listing of all your databases. And one of the key things here is that you can have multiple instances of SQL Server loaded up, depending on how many licenses you have purchased. So that's the one great feature that's coming in Enterprise. So querying your database is one of the features that is the one of the primary features that I wanted to have completed in this before I actually release it in the actual beta release. And I got the query functionality working the way I wanted it to, and you basically will get a query that gives you a table that pulls out of your database on what actually currently exists. Right now I don't have too much data in my database, as you can see, but you also have the ability to run scripts. So these are the two features that I wanted to make sure that were included in the first version that's going out the door. And this will allow you to run all your scripts. This will allow you to actually create your scripts, which this will dynamically go through and give you the ability to update all the scripting options, so that when you go to run your script, all those scripting options can be applied. You can change, your version that you want to target. You want to change your database you want to target, and at the same time, the versions you want to target. So all these features are being built in, and these are just basically being reflective of the scripting functionality that is available in SQL Server Management Studio. So I just wanted to make a similar interface that would give you the same power that feature gives you. So these are the two features that I wanted to get going in the first version, and it's phenomenal. So my next stage is to implement the functionality so that when you do create your scripts, you're able to save your scripts, and that functionality is being taken care of through this interface here. So you can actually go and name your scripts and name it whatever you want, and so that will give you the ability to save it to a database. And that's the functionality I still have to hook up. That's why I'm getting those tables in the database. So the same thing will go with the scripts. When you run your scripts and you generate them, you'll be able to actually generate your script and actually save that script to the database and save it whatever name you want to. Now, one of the other things that we're going to also do is that all of this information on the page is going to be retained in the database, so that if you refresh your page, this is what currently happens, you lose everything. So that feature for me to be able to store the state in the database is monumental to allowing you to retain your data through page refreshes. In a single page application, you shouldn't have to refresh your page, but since people are still in between understanding single page applications and web applications, it's always the tendency to do a refresh. So my first innate idea is to make sure to save all that. So that's one of the features that I'm making sure that I put in there. So I think that's all that I really want to discuss this morning before I go to dialysis. So let me go get prepared. And I just wanted to give you guys a little insight into what my next stage, my next moves are. But these are the next things that I'm completing in the next couple of days. There's a couple of other things that I have on another spreadsheet that I'm going to pull into here. I'm trying to get everything centralized and sit down and analyze exactly what I want to get accomplished in the next 30 days. I'm doing this on a 30-day plan, so that every 30 days I get something accomplished, and then that way I can release a new iteration of the software every 30 days. So that's my goal, so that hopefully in 6 months the full version will be available for the happy users, the DBAs that are looking forward to this. So without further ado, I will bid you guys a good day. Take care and have a good one.